Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Charlie.
And this is the Jug O Sip podcast.
You can find the Jug O Sip podcast on YouTube and Spotify every Monday and Friday.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow at Jug O Sip podcast on all social media.
We'll just talk and
We'll talk very
then we won't worry about what happened. So Lindsay, start us off.
Okay, so what story of mine do you guys want me to tell? Because I'm totally I have so many.
Well, there's a bunch of them. You got your ex-husband.
Oh God,
those stories.
Ex-husband stories.
You got the dude who tried to stab you.
Okay, the stabbing.
No,
story?
he did stab you.
No, he cut me. Okay, maybe I should just tell that one. So
was it a stab or a cut?
It was a cut, but it was a deep cut. It bled for 12 hours.
That's a stab.
Yeah. So let me explain what happened.
He stabbed you.
He sliced me, but it was a deep slice. It really fucking hurt.
Okay.
So let me explain what happened. So I wasn't in a situation where a guy jumped out and just screamed, "I cut you," and then stabbed me. No. This was a really bad attempt at flirting. This is why I ask myself constantly, why are men? So
all right.
When I was in college,
yeah,
I hung out with this group of people. We had this little common area. It was a little community college segment of a bigger university.
Right.
And I kind of just hung out with random cool kids that most of them I'm still very good friends with.
Okay.
There was this guy, I won't say his name. We'll just call him Z. So this guy Z made it very clear that what?
I hate to ask this, but does his first name start with a Z?
No.
Okay, good.
You know where my mind went to? He stabs her, cuts her, right? It starts with a Z.
Yeah, because I'm is it Zorro?
It's Victor Zsasz from Batman. Reverse Zaz, except he puts the tally marks on her instead of on himself.
Oh, is that?
You know where my mind went to?
No, we're just going to call him
her,
Z.
cuts
Would
her,
you
right?
guys shut up and let me tell my story?
Right.
Is it Zorro?
So
It's Zaz from Batman.
Y'all.
Reverse Zaz, except he puts the tally marks on her instead of on himself.
Clarksburg, West Virginia, 2009.
Right.
So anyway, this kid, Z, hung out with my friends and I he was a little annoying and he made it very obvious to the point where I noticed that he liked me. And I'm going to make it really clear. I don't fucking notice anything.
Okay.
Unless you're wearing a neon sign that says, "I want to put my dick in you," I don't know. I have no fucking idea. You could be openly flirting with me and making jokes about sleeping with me and I'm we're just bros. So.
Oh my God.
If it's obvious to me that you like me, you are very obvious. I am an idiot. So I would not notice that.
Okay.
So, but I politely made it clear to him, hey, at the time I was dating, the guy I was dating in high school and through college. So I was just I appreciate it or whatever, but we can still be friends. And he wasn't too weird about it till this moment. So, and I'd known for a month. So we're sitting on the couch at the campus center, and my friends and I were scattered about the common area, just chatting and chilling. And I'm working on some homework and talking to a friend of mine on instant message. We're just chatting. And I had a knife I carried with me because West Virginia, and and I just always felt safer carrying it with me because I took the bus and things like that. And there were a lot of crazy, sketchy people that lived in my town, and where my college was a really big area for crackheads and violent activity. So I just felt better carrying a knife on me. I'm very small. So Z had a package, and he was it was one of those heat sealed things. Where it was it's so hard to open, you have to have a blade to cut it open.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
For, the ones they sell scissors in, ironically.
Yeah, what the heck? Why do they sell scissors in packages? Shout out to Ellen DeGeneres who made this joke in 2000.
It's a valid point.
You can't open scissors if you don't have scissors already.
That's the point. So anyway, he's like, "Can I borrow your knife?" And I'm like, "Sure, man, whatever." And I just go back to whatever the fuck I'm doing. I'm not even looking at him, and he's sitting to the right of me. And out of the corner of my eye, I see him look at the knife, but I thought maybe he was just trying to figure out how to close it. I just, again, wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I feel a movement on my arm, just almost like someone grazing my arm. It was so deep, I didn't feel it. Okay. And I look over, and my arm is just bleeding.
How big is this wound?
I still have it. Let me see. It's not huge.
That's pretty long.
It's about an inch.
You got a tattoo over it.
Well, part of it.
Part of it.
Well, because the scar is also wider for a reason that explains.
That's not even your writing hand. So that hand must have been still.
It was. Well, I was typing.
Oh,
I was
okay,
typing,
right,
and he
yeah.
gashed me, and I surprisingly didn't freak out. I think I was shocked. And I look at him, I look at my bleeding wound, and I look at him, and I go, what the fuck, bro? Because, like, what else are you going to say in that situation? I could have either punched him and freaked out, or I could have just been like, why though? Because that was really my concern. And he looked horrified at himself. Like, he knew he had done something real fucking stupid. And he goes, I'm sorry, I thought you'd be into it. And I go, what? At this point, it is like 10 a.m. or earlier. It's like 9 a.m. on campus. I hadn't even had my first class yet.
Okay.
And I was just ready to go into psychology, ironically, and to go study that asshole.
Did he take psychology too?
I don't know what the fuck he took. He just followed me around on campus. And
he needed
stared at
therapy.
me. Clearly.
Why did he think that was the win? That's like some incel shit.
Can I finish though? Like, you gotta, there's 3 tiers to this story, like a fucking cake of death. It's awful.
Okay.
So he starts rambling nervously and shaking. I get my knife back and he's like, I'm sorry, I just thought you'd be into it. And I go, why in Jesus titty fucking Christ would you think in all fucking scenarios this would work for you? He goes, well, I heard you talking to our friend the other day. Shout out to my friend. You know who you are. You were there. Talking about Sweeney Todd the other day, and you said it was kind of hot, the knife play thing. I go, in context! What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you not know what context is? Jesus fucking Christ! I wasn't talking about a real knife. I was talking about someone buying a replica razor and screaming at me in a Cockney accent and throwing me against a wall and fucking me. Like, there is a totally different thing, and not on campus. But of course, I'm surprisingly calm because I'm still in shock. So I go, okay. And I calmly walk into the other room where there's the front desk, and I go, excuse me, can I get a Band-Aid? I'm bleeding terribly. And I'm given
a Band-Aid.
Can I get a Band-Aid? That's what she said.
Wait, it gets worse. It's way funnier. So they give me this flimsy dollar store Band-Aid, which I proceed to leave on my arm for 12 hours. So it was one of those days where because I didn't drive, I took a bus and I lived kind of out of town. So like I'd go into campus and I would stay until like 2 in the afternoon some days, and then some days I was there till 10 o'clock at night. This happened to be one of the days I was there till 10 o'clock at night. Okay. Now, my stupid ass probably should have just said, fuck my mother, got on a bus and dipped, but I didn't. Because if my mom found out about this, who I was living with at the time, she would have straight murdered every fucking buddy, including me.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, that's a whole thing.
Right.
I knew it would be more problems because she would just get too involved. So I don't tell anybody about this. My friend Jack knows because he was there. And shout out to Jack. The Cooking Goth on YouTube.
Yeah, the Cooking Goth, right.
Yeah, so check out the Cooking Goth on YouTube. That's my friend Jack. He's great.
Right.
That's totally love you, buddy. Anyway, so I call him because he's the only one that knows this happened that I can really like trust for the advice I needed.
Yeah.
And I go, dude, I don't know what to do. I said, I can't go to the hospital without my mom. I don't know if I need stitches. I couldn't really tell, but it was still bleeding significantly for about 12 hours. And while eating, he literally had food in his mouth. He goes, you can always cauterize it. And I go, what's that?
Back up. Who gave you that advice?
The Cooking Goth, my friend Jack.
Okay.
Oh, I thought the guy who stabbed you was
I got
was like, well, you can always cauterize it.
Right.
I got lost. No, you weren't. Yeah, I had called Jack that night, and I was freaking the fuck out.
Okay.
And he was like, you always cauterize it. And I'm like, okay, how do I do that? He goes, you just have to like somehow either burn or fuse the wound shut so it won't bleed, and then it'll heal kind of straight.
Huh.
And I go, cool, let me call you back. Click. So, because we had a landline, because I'm old and click.
Right. Right.
It just sounds better though, too.
Yeah.
So I take the same knife that I was cut with.
Okay.
Like in a Sean Bean level triage.
Yeah.
I go and I like sterilize it with rubbing alcohol and clean it. And then I heat up the side of the blade until I can see it burning red. I put a belt in my mouth, bite down on the belt, close the wound shut, and just sear the motherfucker shut. And now the scar is now a line and a little burn mark.
It's good that you got the haircut you have now, because that fits that better.
Well, see, my whole aesthetic looks like
metal as fuck.
Yeah, like that is like some post-apocalyptic type triage you did on yourself. Like, that's crazy.
Well, like I've always been the kind of person that did like drunk triage of myself because I just trust myself better. And there was times I didn't have health insurance. There was times like I couldn't tell my family I was injured. So like, You just kind of figure out your own fucking shit. That's why I'm so good at like herbal remedies and shit now.
All right.
Okay, so you want to go next?
All right, my turn.
Have you figured out what story you want to tell?
Yeah, I got a story. This is a short one. Okay, so a number of years ago, I was working. Why did I start off all announcery like that?
Shut up, Brockmeyer. Just do your thing.
I like that. Top of the ninth, and I don't even know. I don't even know baseball. Okay, whatever.
Footsketball, whatever.
Footskit bass. A number of years ago, I was working in an AMC theater, the one that is on Times Square.
Oh, an AMC story.
That likely will be closed by the end of the quarantine. But I was working there, and there were a bunch of people there. But on this day, because the way the job worked is that you got assigned to a different spot. So you could get assigned to porter, which is a politically correct way of saying janitor. You could get assigned to usher, which is the politically correct way of saying clean the cum out of the theater seats when the movie's over.
Usher, known as seat bitch.
That's a good one, seat bitch. Then you got concessions.
Which just gives them the container to put their cum in. Yeah,
which is like fill this with popcorn so that they can fill it with cum later. Then you got what elevator? Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. They just called it elevator.
You just ran the elevator.
And the way that worked is that because back in the day, you would need an elevator operator to actually run an elevator. It was before the elevators were automated. But
I used to do that as a job, actually. I used to be an elevator operator briefly.
Right, but to maintain the bullshit of that time period, they just pretend that you still need that. So they
you're
just
pushing buttons for people. It's really fucking easy. It's the easiest job I ever fucking had.
So pretty much for like 8 hours, actually more like 4 to 5 hours, I was a dude on a stool who every time somebody walked in, I would ask them what floor you want to go to, and they would tell me, and I would press the button for them, and then I would make them feel better for using the elevator. Like it's a great way to make middle class people feel like they're in the upper class.
Makes them feel good about the dicks, and you know, whatever.
Now on this particular day, one of the people that got hired with me, because I wasn't there for long, I was only there for like 6 months, but one of the people that got hired with me was this girl, and she was kind of she was kind of hood. There's nothing wrong with that, because I was born and raised in Harlem. I was born in the hood.
You're a hood kid, yeah. I mean,
I mean, you couldn't tell. Probably it's not always easy to see on me, but you know, I didn't care. The point is, this is where she was. Like I could tell she was another hood kid, so I knew the look. So this chick walks in, right? And the thing about this job is we all had name tags with our names on them. So, you know, mine said Charles. Now her name tag had a name on it that I didn't understand, because I was reading it and I didn't know how to pronounce it, because it was like I didn't know what it said. So she walks in there and I'm like, hey, how you doing? I know you got hired with me, and there was like 60 of us that got hired at once. How do you pronounce your name? And she's like, well, it's on my name tag. And I'm like, yes, but how do you pronounce your name? Because it's not Kleitch. I know your name's not Kleitch.
I hope it ain't Kleitch.
I'm assuming it's not Kleitch.
I'm betting it's not Kleitch.
Could you tell me how you pronounce your name? And the thing is, she takes 2 fingers and places right underneath the name tag, and she was so proud. She was like, my name is Cliche. And I was, and again, this is a hood. This girl's from the hood. My nose almost started bleeding, because it was like finding a Starbucks across the street from a Starbucks. It was like a paradox of hoodness, of ghetto-ness, because every once in a while you'll run into somebody in the hood with a name that's not appropriate, you know, or made up. Like
you find that with white people too. I mean, look at Elon Musk and what he fucking named his kid.
God,
that's actually what I was thinking about exactly. I'm like, that's gonna be this kid in like 18 years or
I mean, don't get it twisted. Yeah, I've heard some names like Cliche, but I've also heard Absidy, ABCD. I've heard fucking Forest, where it was just 4 S's and a T.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my God.
Like some of it isn't even worth, like LaDasha with a dash. Like there's a lot of stupid fucking names out there, and I don't care if you named your kid Absidy. Fuck you. I'm not sorry for saying it. That's child abuse. I don't care if it makes you cry, Karen. Fuck you.
Right, but this chick's name was Cliche, and it was like she was a cliche named Cliche.
I feel bad. I hope she know. Like, did she know what it meant? Like, or
I asked her.
I mean, it's great that she's proud of her name.
But that's where it got even dark, because I asked her. I was like, "What do you know what that means?" And she said, "Yeah, it's French."
Well, yeah, it is a French word.
And it's like, but that's my point. She just kept digging into the, like, it just kept rattling,
like it was Yvette or something, or
it just kept wrapping around on itself over and over. She was a cliche named Cliche that didn't know that her name was a cliche, that didn't know that what cliche meant because she was a cliche. It was like if you named a human baby Human Man. and that was on his birth certificate for the rest of his life.
Or just naming a baby.
It's Human Man. Or just name it Baby. No, well, because the thing is they'll grow up into adults.
That's even worse, though.
I know of people named Baby, but if you named a baby Human, or named him something like Lips.
Or like, what was it, like the thing with, what was it, Sandra Bullock did whatever the bird thing was that she did, the bird shit thing. And her kids were named boy and girl.
There you go. Yeah, for Bird Box.
Yeah,
you called it bird shit?
I was like, what movie is she?
No, there was something with birds and Sandra Bullock.
That's the thing is, I'm a huge Sandra Bullock fan, but I won't watch that movie because it looks stupid. And when you said bird shit, I was like, what movie of Sandra Bullock have I not seen?
I won't watch it. I won't watch it for the same reason I won't watch Tiger King, is because people will not shut up about it.
I won't watch Tiger King because it fucking encourages fucking animal abuse.
Like now I won't do it on principle.
Well, like, I'm already like that. I was already like that. Like, when nobody would shut up about it, I felt like I had already seen it and I didn't want to be a part of it at all. And then when I found out what it was actually about, and I found out it was like glorifying abuse of animals, I was like, fuck y'all and your stupid Joe Exotic or Joe Erotic or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, when I saw that poster, I thought it was just like a hillbilly Steve Irwin type of dude.
That's basically what it is, but he's abusive to the animals.
Well, I've seen they've had a thing going around on Insta. I don't know who created it, that said basically that Joe Exotic was like the Wario to Steve Irwin.
Oh my god,
that's really good.
Oh my god! And now they're going to do a movie about it. Like, I honestly don't even want to talk about it on here and give it that much fucking publicity.
You're right. Well, anyway, okay, so that's my story.
It'll be Joe Dirt with tigers.
I love Joe Dirt though.
Joe Dirt was a good movie.
That's a good
about a good person.
I mean, like, he looked like him in that movie.
Like
David Spade. He had like the blonde mullet and everything. He looked like Joe Exotic, and his name was Joe.
That's really funny.
So we need to tell the story about like our early phases of friendship and how we met, because that shit was crazy. Like,
oh yeah. We
had some really good early moments that we could share as the story. So do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
from the job from hell. Yeah, that was
okay. So yeah, first of all, Katie and I met.
Actually, that's how I met the two of you as well.
Right,
like
because I had quit there, but I met you through my ex and with Katie.
Well, you had already left by the time Charlie started.
Yeah,
right?
I had left. I had been gone like a few weeks before he started.
Right.
She was working. I think
I was at Hard Rock Cafe.
You were still at Hard Rock. I was still with TSE.
You were TSE, yeah.
And then I started at TSE after.
So I met these beautiful people at this place where we sold Broadway tickets in a very sketchy manner on the street. We found out later, I don't think it was legal, so I am sorry for that.
As far as I know, from as I kept looking it up, I couldn't find anything about the legality of it. I think it was more
just on the teetering line.
Yeah, it was one of those businesses.
It felt very unethical.
One of those businesses that survived on a very thin line of legality, like a very gray area of legal.
And the guy who ran it was a total asshole tyrant. But the best things that came out of that was
he was the poor man's Donald Trump.
He was such a piece of shit.
I wouldn't even give him that much credit because he kind of looked like the penguin with like 2 more feet on him.
He was a racist penguin. But anyway, so...
The penguin might have been racist.
Racist, sexist, xenophobic.
I digress.
Like
well, anyway.
Homophobic.
He was just a hateful piece of shit. But the best thing that came out of it is I met these two.
Yeah.
So when Katie and I met her about a month or so before I met Charles. Now, when Katie and I met, Katie was far more shy than she is now. She's, come a lot of ways in her, like, growth as a human being. And, when she first addressed me at TSC, she almost like acted like she was terrified to talk to me. Like, you want to?
I was.
So how did you approach me?
Well, to set up, I think we've talked about this so many times. I remember that first day, because I was always one of the first people to go into the office at
that downstairs office?
at O Dark 30, as my dad would say.
Oh, dark 30.
O Dark 30.
That sounds like your
Because
dad.
this was a job that started early in the morning.
It was dark 30 though.
And I walk into it was like our break room area.
Right.
And then there's these two people sitting on the couch that I had never
That
seen
nasty
before.
zebra couch. I love that couch.
I had been at that job for I think 4 months by the time you came
Yeah, you had been there
around.
Right.
Because she and I started in
And
March.
I'm just like, oh, okay, here's two new people. And I'm just like, very shy. Oh, hi. Go over here and do my thing. Because I'm an introvert and I have social anxiety really bad.
Yeah, she didn't say much to us all day the first day.
I don't remember how many days into it was when I spotted that.
I think it was like 2 or 3.
So
It was really early. I had just started there.
for those who don't know, Lindsay has a dark mark tattoo on the back of her neck.
Yeah.
Tattoo on the back of
my
her neck.
A proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. Unique New York. We didn't do that before. Now that's why we flipping.
Tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. Anyway. So I am a huge nerd. And I love Harry Potter. So I saw that tattoo and I was just like, something along the lines of like softly tapping on the shoulder. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I feel a little
Like
think behind me.
I like your tattoo.
Yeah, and she had to repeat herself because I felt a little tap on my neck or my shoulder, and I like turn around. I'm like, hello, and she's like, hello. And I'm like super friendly to everybody. So hello. You have the wrong number. So no, she like taps me, and I hear a very soft, excuse me, I like your tattoo. I'm like, honey, I'm used to a family that thinks screaming is talking. You need to speak up. So she goes, and she backs away like Steve Irwin is backing away from a snake that's about to lunge at him. She's like, I like your tattoo. Like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean with his flinchy Captain Jack Sparrow hands.
Like Steve Irwin.
You know how he would like flinch away from an animal that would strike at him suddenly? He had this quick
Yeah, but
reflex.
he'd be like, cry, isn't it gorgeous? Actually, that fits for you too.
Yeah.
Like, look at it, it's gorgeous. My God. Look at its teeth.
Oh, look at all its markings all over.
That's technically what happened. So I mean,
This is
but she was
indicative
flinching like
of the
Captain
rare
Jack
and
Sparrow
elusive
way.
Lindsay.
She, like, if I could paint the picture, she was flinching like Captain Jack Sparrow with her hands up and kind of like back. And she goes, I like your tattoo. I go, oh, thank you. You're Katie, right? And then like we started to,
You'd be like, oh my God, how do you know my name? Like, oh yeah, we work together.
and after that,
We have name tags.
after that we became inseparable. And by that I mean Katie wouldn't let go of my arm for 3.5 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember the first day I met Katie too. It was okay, I don't remember it that well because I was on antidepressants. I was destroying my brain. But
That's a whole other episode.
For the most part, I remember this one moment where I walked up to Katie, and Katie was in that booth on the outside of the building.
Jeez, yeah.
Right, and I greeted her somehow. Do you even remember what the hell happened in that
Said hi or
conversation?
something.
I don't remember. It's really most of the people that I met there. I just kind of
Yeah.
were there. at
That was a
some
trauma.
point.
That
I
was a
don't
trauma
remember.
blur working there too.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well, okay. Well, I walk up and I say hi to Katie. We, exchange words. And as I'm walking away, the first thing I think to myself is, wow, that's such a nice lesbian lady that I met.
And disclaimer, I was not out at the time.
but she didn't know. She had no idea.
And that's a story by itself.
Yeah, that itself, yeah. So that, like, to go into that, if Katie, are you okay?
No,
talking
it's
about
not.
this?
It's not about not knowing about being gay.
Yeah.
It was not feeling like I could say it. I was still in the no, I can't be. I have to be straight.
Right.
You thought you had to
phase.
go into it. Yeah, and the best part
I mean,
is
while I'm thinking about Catherine Zeta-Jones all the time.
the best part is when I met Katie. It was basically the same thing. I was like, we went home. My ex and I went home after meeting Katie, and all we did was talk about how great Katie was, and I was like, that is the nicest little lesbian I have ever met.
You had the exact same thought I did.
Yeah, we had this lovely conversation, and I remember we were hanging out with our friend Michelangelo, my ex, and Katie and I hung out a lot before we met Charles.
Mangelo.
Yes. Michelangelo.
Mangelo.
We haven't seen him in a bit, but we'd walk around, and I remember Katie would refer to herself as "I'm a big question mark," and I remember I would never say that because when a person's not ready to hear something, you don't act like an asshole and say it. But I remember my thought was, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah, I heard about that part afterwards because when I heard that Katie came out, I was like, the booth that I saw her in, like, what? Where?
Yeah, it was like when Barry Manilow.
Yes, she finally came out the booth. She's free.
When Barry
Like, she doesn't live in there, does she? Oh God.
When Barry Manilow,
No more blue box.
When Barry Manilow came out of the closet, I was like, didn't he come out like in the 80s? Is anybody actually fucking shocked? I'm like, this is news?
Yeah.
It was sort of the same thing.
Like with Liberace, everyone's like, yeah, we've been new.
Yeah.
Katie texted me that one day she came out and she's like, Lindsay, she gives me this whole beautiful, heartfelt, like, I'm gay talk. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there. I remember what I was doing. I was sitting on my sofa and I was eating something and I'm texting. I'm like, bitch, I knew.
And I remember that. This was after,
So funny.
it was after Thanksgiving. I had just
always coming out of Thanksgiving.
I had just visited
good
my
time.
family from Thanksgiving, and I was coming back. I was walking to my apartment from the train station, and I was just like,
Yeah.
and I'm texting Lindsay, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not a question mark anymore.
And I go, yeah. And then
I'm like, I'm definitely gay. And I thought that was going to be such a surprise to people.
And I remember
There I was thinking that I actually did think that I was doing a good job of concealing everything.
Word.
yeah, you hiding the fact
I'm like,
that you're gay is
nobody
like,
knows. Like, I have these, things of, Hugh Jackman, and like nobody's gonna know.
Can I be real with you?
Yeah.
The first thing I saw your cargo pants before I saw your face.
I'm gonna be completely real with you. You trying to hide the fact that you're gay was like me trying to hide the fact that I'm goth.
Well,
and
I'm
loud.
wearing my big T-shirts and my flannel shirts and my cargo pants
And then-
and my snapbacks.
And then
Right.
then the day you came
know,
out, my ex.
I wasn't obvious at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
The day you texted me, my ex was in the bedroom and I was out in the living room and giving this ex, and I go, "Hey, Katie just came out," and goes, "Oh, that's great." We done knew. We were just waiting for you to fucking know.
And then it took me. Okay, so that was November, and then it took me until I think the following summer to actually tell my parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my family, my immediate family
I was
was
like
the
one of the- I
very.
was
They
the
were
first
like the
person you told.
last. They were the last people that I
Wasn't
told.
I the
Yeah,
first
you were the
person? Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Oh yay!
You were the first, and then it just kind of like I never made an official announcement.
It just gradually
Anything
came out.
like this is like the closest thing that I have to an official announcement.
Everybody has their own way of coming out. Like
I've just kind of been gay.
yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, everybody has their own way of coming out, and it depends on what you're coming out as. If you're revealing that you're gay or bi or whatever, or even trans, every coming out is very different to each person, and they have their own way of doing it. When I told my parents I said bi originally, but I say pan because I like to keep it more broad because I don't, it keeps it open to everything that is adult and consenting, basically. I just like to keep it open. So when I came out as bi, I had developed a crush on this girl I was friends with, who ended up being my first girlfriend. And I remember I was telling my parents and my mom, I was like, so I like this girl. My mom's like, you need to pick one or the other. If you like boys or girls. I'm like, well, I'm not going to, so deal with it. And I always had that approach to my parents. I've always had that, well, I mean, like, if you don't like it, I had that approach about everything. If you don't like it, suck it. I don't
Pretty
care.
much.
Like, as
Pretty
long as
much.
I'm not. Now, I'm open to the fact that I could be wrong, and if I'm hurting somebody, tell me.
Yeah.
But, like, if I'm not hurting anybody, stay on my fucking face.
When I came out to my mom as black,
What
it
about,
was
okay, you gotta talk about how when
it
you
was
came out
a-
as
it
black
was-
and when you came out as straight to her.
when I came out as black and straight, it was a shock to my mom because she,
you were gay?
she thought I was gay and Chinese.
Huh.
And I didn't, I didn't know how to
your
break
mom, that
it.
checks.
I didn't know how to break it to her that, my dark skin has been there since she gave birth to me. She was on the epidural at the time, so she didn't know, she wasn't really
didn't know.
awake.
So she had the good stuff.
She was she was passed out, so I could have been anybody coming
been an alien. She
coming
wouldn't
out of her vagina.
Oh, and then as Katie and I got close, and I was the first person she came out to because I think I was the first person to ever make you feel comfortable enough to be who you are.
Yeah.
When we would close up at TSE, we always made jokes and stuff. And I remember one time I was vacuuming. It was my turn to vacuum the office, and they had this.
One of my favorite stories.
It was like, do you want to tell it? If it's one of your favorites, feel free. It's a great story, and I'd love to hear your perspective of it.
Yeah.
Well, the bit that I remember was that exact thing. I was standing in the break room getting my stuff together.
Yeah, we were getting ready to
And I just heard that telltale roll of the vacuum coming down, and then Lindsay comes into the room with the vacuum and goes, Winnie.
I speak out of the side of my mouth because and the thing is, she heard the familiar roll of vacuum, and that was the sound that made me want to do that because it sounded like the clack, that awkward clack she did when she pushed the fucking vacuum out of the house, like trying to figure out how to fucking fly on it. We fly.
Really quick, I take it you're talking about Steel Magnolias?
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus? Isn't there Winnie and Steel Magnolias?
No. Were you paying attention at all when
Weezer. Sorry.
That doesn't even start with a W. Charlie, I'm the one that's high.
Okay.
So, yeah, if anybody who's seen Hocus Pocus, you'll get the reference.
Can you imagine those two switching places, though?
Oh, that would be funny.
I want to see Weezer go toe-to-toe with
Winifred
Winifred. Oh, maybe that's why you thought, because there's a Winifred.
Ah, that might have been what it is. Yeah.
Winnie. Broomhouse.
Oh, no, Winnie's Winifred. No, I'm getting mixed up. Okay, I might be a little bit high, too.
You're really high.
I'm just like, that could be Winifred. Winifred was from Hocus Pocus, which is what Winnie is from. There is no Winnie or Winifred in Steel Magnolias.
Confusing the fuck out of me. Listen.
That's what we do.
Yes.
You're making me want to say one of my favorite Steel Magnolias quotes where, like, I promise none of my personal tragedies will interfere with me doing good hair. That's a mood, because I do amazing hair despite the fact that I do my best hair when I'm going through personal tragedies.
It was like, the only reason people are nice to me is because I have more money than God.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
Weezer, why are you smiling? You run over a small child or something. We're getting off course.
The reason it's so great is because actually that's a really great segue, because our friendship is a lot like Weezer and Clary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's almost uncanny.
Yeah.
Like, I would totally, for a podcast interview, drag you into a men's locker room despite how fucking gay you are, and you would just sit there and look at all the penises with distaste and anger.
Yeah.
Like, get me
And
out
you
of-
are too twisted for color TV.
right.
Speaking of which, and this is a request of mine, Katie, could you tell me again one of your hilarious ass stories?
Which one?
Well, is it okay to say? Because I think you know what I'm talking about.
Don't make her tell that. She doesn't want to tell that.
No?
No, that needs to be a whole other
That's its own
conversation.
segment.
That's its own thing.
Yeah, guys, we'll have a good Katie story for you another time. We'll have her on the show quite
But
frequently.
yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I'll tell those stories, but I think that needs to be its own
Okay,
thing.
I didn't want to embarrass you.
Right now,
or
this
make you-
seems to be a.
But this is
This
why.
has turned into Katie's coming out story.
But
yeah,
that's good though.
that's
I mean,
great.
It's good to
Yeah.
talk about though.
Yeah.
Are you okay with this? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
I don't want
good.
to make you uncomfortable. I don't. That's the whole point of this podcast. We're here to have fun and make everyone comfortable. And
Okay,
happy.
well, that's why I wanted to ask, because I didn't want to disrespect. Okay, well, that means
It's not like this doesn't have funny moments.
no. You're right.
yeah.
Well, let me hold up. I just need a sound bite real quick. Hold on. Katie, the coming out story presented by
Subaru and U-Haul
Lifetime
television for women.
and Bravo
And what's
and Logo.
the car that I like from Rick and Morty?
The sneezy.
Oh, Sneezy Deezy Mick Deluxe.
It's the call that sneeze.
When you honk the horn.
That's so funny.
Okay. Wait a minute.
It's a car that sneezes. Come on, that's funny.
I think it's the cutest because if you guys are Rick and Morty fans, the one episode that made Katie giggle the most was the sneezy car, and I thought that was so cute because it was one of the most tamer jokes in that fucking series.
Yeah.
But it was so precious. Okay, so like we're having Katie tell a story, or are we? Who's going next?
Okay,
or
so
what's going on?
we were talking about the vacuum moment, the Winnie.
Right,
Yeah, finish that story off. Yeah.
that was basically it. Like we just had a lot of moments early in our friendship that were like silly like that. That fused.
That was it went from, it's like, okay, so I already like her because another nerd who loves Harry Potter
Right.
and Carrie Fisher.
Right.
And the OG Star Wars, the good
totally
Star
getting Carrie
Wars.
Fisher
Right.
tattooed on me at some point.
These traits aren't that rare among women, but people talk about it like it is.
And I also am a very talkative person about what I like and stuff. People know I'm
Right.
very direct about everything.
Well,
that
and
I
like
am.
it's not like I haven't met other people who
There
have
was
these
just something
interests.
about
It's
our
usually not the same amount of things.
Yeah.
They're usually into maybe one or two, whereas I've got Harry Potter, I've got Star Wars, Batman, Supergirl.
If there's any cute nerd chicks out there that's looking for a cute nerd,
Lord of the
girl,
Rings.
she's available. This adorable lesbian
I mean,
is
like-
available for adoption currently.
Well, I think about like I don't know how long it was a while since you've been to my apartment. I don't know if you remember my room.
last time
I remember it pretty well,
I think
but
the
it's been a
last time I
while.
was at your apartment, wasn't it when we were making pot brownies
Yeah.
for Christmas? It was
Well,
like
like, and
around Thanksgiving.
Well, like, you remember, I've got that that's not a tapestry. That's way too fancy.
the Afghan,
That throw
it was an Afghan
thing of the Marauders map.
It was like an Afghan. You could
And then
hangers.
on the opposite wall, I have the banner for Hufflepuff, because I'm a Hufflepuff.
Right.
My ex actually gave you that Marauders map thing, which was to spite me because she knew I wanted it in the breakup.
Yeah, there were a lot of fun things I discovered about the things that I acquired from that.
Yeah.
Like the sweatpants.
What happened with the
You were
sweatpants?
so mad about those sweatpants, those Nike sweatpants.
What
First time you saw me wearing those, and you were, she was just
had
like,
these amazing sweatpants that belonged to her sister's boyfriend. My ex did, and they were amazing. I loved them so much because I wore them all the time on my period because they were really big on me. But that was really nice for loose fitting stuff. And she gave them to Katie and not me, and I was furious.
Why did you break up in like a nasty divorce where the wife is spiting the husband by giving away his things?
Wait, that's an easy statement. Let me be clear. She was a spiteful cunt.
Okay.
And if you don't like that I said that, die mad about it. I don't care.
I love how that's the end of the story.
so Hufflepuff,
Hufflepuff.
Very direct. Slytherin best friend Hufflepuff.
which is a very common combination.
Well, because if I had to pick a secondary house, Hufflepuff would be my secondary house.
But I've got those things, and then I've got the things for Star Wars. One's the Millennium Falcon, the other one's the Death Star.
And you got your little stoner corner.
My little stoner corner, my little, like, it's not an idol.
What?
Thank you. I can't. Words are not. Hi, sweetheart. Words are not coming to me.
okay.
I've got like my own little altar thing,
Artemis is visiting us.
So she's got like a whole nerdum section. So
and my bed sheets are Star Wars. Like, my room is decorated like a 10-year-old.
You're wearing an Ewok t-shirt right
I'm
now.
wearing
And I'm wearing an
Harley Quinn.
Ewok t-shirt.
And I'm wearing Harley Quinn pajama pants. Like, she comes over. This is how Katie and I have the special bond. The reason our friendship is so strong is because she comes over to our house, and she's a Taurus, and I have a ton of Taurus in my chart. So every time she comes over, there's mad Taurus energy. We get tacos. We get really stoned. We watch cartoons and take naps together. Like, she'll literally get in my bed, and we cuddle up and take naps together. That is the friendship we have. We whip out our nerdy pajama pants with Star Wars characters or whatever. Sometimes footy pajamas in the winter.
Oh yeah.
And that's just what our friendship is. We
Look at
sleep
my
and hang out
Chewbacca onesie.
together and smoke weed and eat food. And that's how we always bonded. And that's why I think you felt so comfortable coming out to me
Yeah.
as the first person, because I just always...
It's just like, okay, so my interests are not off-putting.
No. And also, I was
Do
the
you
first
think?
person
Because
you
it
smoked
could
weed
be
with.
something weird, like collecting parts of people or something. Like it could be. It could be really messed up.
Yeah, that could have been a deal breaker.
I could
It's
have
just like I like
been,
collecting eyebrow shavings.
I could have been bloody face.
Well, I mean, like, with our friendship too, it was just like it was very easy from the beginning. And I was the first person you smoked weed with, the first person you drank with,
Yeah.
all of that.
There were several
First with me.
significant,
Yeah. What besides
as far as a platonic friendship goes.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. We
Right.
weren't those friends that
She's
made out.
not those firsts.
I had a friend that was that, but that wasn't Katie. Hi, Conchetta. Remember when we made out in college for free beer?
But that again, circling back to that moment with the damn vacuum.
Yeah.
Comes back to that.
That was the moment I was just like, okay, this person is going to be in my life forever.
And then we were roommates for a little while. You moved in with me.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
And that was fun for about 5 minutes, not because of anything with us. It was just our other roommate that caused a lot of issues.
Yeah, our part was great. That was a mostly
Real talk?
fun 3 months, I think.
Real talk, I hate having roommates, and like
As do I.
aside from my partner, who is Charlie, the only other person I think I could ever live with would be Katie, probably. Like, honestly, like, she was you would come home from work, and you would come into my room most nights, and we would just smoke a bowl and watch TV. That's where I introduced you to Rick and Morty. Yep. Like, we just hung out and we'd order food. And Charles would then come home from work, because he wasn't really living there. He was just visiting there a
Yeah,
lot.
I wasn't living there.
You were
I
living
was
there, like,
I was
part-time.
visiting there often.
My apartment was more habitable than yours, so I mean,
Yeah.
I think you were over at that place more than you were.
After a certain point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and
was.
so we always hung out and stuff, and it was we had a really good living chemistry. I mean, Katie's
Right.
a great roommate, so I mean, that's.
And Lindsay's a really good cook. I feel the need to mention that.
Oh yeah, tell
Lindsay's
everyone
a
the
very
story
good
about the
cook.
chicken. Tell this chicken story and the waffle story.
Oh.
The 2 times Katie proposed to me in front of my boyfriend.
Those damn waffles.
Well, he was too busy enjoying food to really notice what I was.
Yeah, I don't
Sitting over there doing.
I don't remember that part.
His was the salad. His was the salad. So tell your chicken and waffles.
So the
chicken and
chicken-
waffles were separate meals, but they could go together.
That chicken. What did you put on that chicken?
So it was I put chicken in the oven and like sliced it in some like water just to kind of like cook it, and then I put adobo, black pepper, a little bit of salt, rosemary, a little lemon, and I think thyme. Like I put a bunch of seasonings on there to really like pull it together, but it wasn't overwhelming.
Pull it together.
And then I cooked. I made some asparagus with like butter. I broiled some asparagus with like real like butter.
Oh.
And then what else did I make? I had a. Didn't I make red skin potatoes
Yes.
with like butter and sour cream?
Mm-hmm.
And then I served that. And then the following morning is when I made those breakfast that waffle breakfast.
I think you had. I think there was the chicken. I remember rice. I think you had a thing of jasmine rice.
Jasmine rice. That's what it was. Not
Yeah, the thing of
potatoes.
jasmine rice, and then because I remember with the leftovers, those were put together in the same container.
And it tasted
So
amazing
those
together.
leftovers tasted.
Yeah, the
so
flavors
good.
all absorbed
Yeah.
together.
And that
So-
was the first time I had actually tried asparagus too.
and I made it so good that, and I put a little adobo on the asparagus.
Asparagus.
That
So-
was.
And then the next morning, I made those raspberry waffles with that
Yeah.
cream. The
Yeah, I gotta-
legendary, iconic cream in the family.
And around this time, because this was. Oh God, what was this? Was this 2017, 2018?
2018, because
2018, yeah.
were you living there yet? You were about to move in if you hadn't yet.
No, at the time it was a chicken dinner. I was living.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were like this same weekend, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so the
But I
waffles,
had
I made brunch for everybody.
because I remember this was definitely post Christmas of whatever
you
that
had
year
your
was,
waffle
because I had at my job we did a Secret Santa and I got a waffle maker that was a BB-8 waffle maker again. Star Wars nerd.
So she wanted to break it out.
So we had to have the BB-8 waffles. So Lindsay's like, "Oh, I'll make some, and I can
just
put
made an entire brunch. I
with."
made, like, mimosas
They had
and stuff.
raspberries, right?
yeah,
And it looked like when we opened it up, it actually looked like BB-8 had just been shot to hell.
But God, I'll tell
Why is he bleeding? I thought he was a
But it was so
robot.
good. And then with that, I made a
Like, goddamn, there's a person in there.
That explains all these jokes. Oh my God. No robot can have a sense of humor that sharp.
damn. BB-8 went to the wrong neighborhood, man. So anyway, I made this really good cream that was made for crepes, and it was like it was like a cream cheese base with like powdered sugar and vanilla. I used to make it for crepes all the time, but I decided it'd be really good on the waffles. And I made mimosas and bacon, coffee. I made you and Charlie hot chocolate
Yeah,
Yeah.
with marshmallows.
Yeah.
that was a
That's how I feed
That was
y'all,
a
though.
meal. That was a breakfast
can't-
meal.
like, when I
That
have
was
it-
not McDonald's.
When I have access to a good kitchen, I can cook a really fucking mean meal, man. Like,
That's why I
Oh,
wish
is
that
that-
you guys lived with me at my apartment so that you could.
you guys remember
We could
my
take turns
vodka
cooking.
sauce?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell them about the
Yeah.
salad.
Yeah,
the first
Charlie
time you had a
remembered.
good
Charlie
salad.
remembers.
So the first time, most of the time when I had salads, they were like from corner stores.
Salads.
And they didn't taste. Yeah, it tasted like SpongeBob made it. Like he didn't know what like whoever made it didn't know what a salad
Just a
was.
piece of lettuce and a
And you ate
tomato.
it because you didn't know what a salad was.
Yeah, and I didn't either, so I wasn't helping the situation. So the first time Lindsay made me a proper salad,
Let me tell them what was in it so we can.
yeah, tell them what was in the
So
salad.
it was a spinach salad with fresh strawberries, a nice seasoned grilled chicken, carrots, cucumber, bell pepper, a strawberry vinaigrette dressing.
Oh,
Did I say carrots? Croutons, boiled egg, and a couple of other like really good things, and like a little cracked pepper.
oh God.
So that was his first time eating a proper salad.
Oh, just give me a second.
And I made it so because like I'll eat
Can't stop
those.
sweating.
Charlie, have a moment.
Some days I don't want a heavy meal, and I like a nice hearty salad because it's nice and filling without making you too full. So I made that one night when Charlie said he wanted something light, and he was like, "Salad for dinner?" Like that was the most preposterous thing he's ever heard in his life.
So, Lindsay made this salad, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak about this salad in such a
Like it's
sultry
porn.
way.
Like it's porn.
Whatever. I'm just gonna go with it. So
Yeah, enjoy it.
Daily dose of food porn.
Lindsay made this salad, and it was the best salad I ever had. Now, first of all, it was an amazing salad. Granted, the bar wasn't high, but it didn't matter because it could have been
Now
great.
your bar is high.
Now it is high, but because now I'll eat a salad from somewhere and I'll just get upset. Like I'll just get physically angry. That is
Don't
not
you do that when you
Lindsay's
watch
salad.
porn now?
Yeah.
You said that the other day. That was really
Yeah,
fucking
it's like
funny.
I'll turn it on and it's just like none of these bitches look like my wife. It's bullshit. We're not married, but that's what it feels like.
Well, we pretty much are. Like we act pretty married.
Right, but anyway, so this salad, I started eating this salad. Now, what I didn't know is that you can't eat more than a certain amount of salad because you'll endanger your intestines, and I wasn't aware
it's
of
supposed
it.
to help you. It's like it's fiber. If you,
Right, it's a lot-
It's like eating a bunch of Fiber One bars. You're going to get the shits for days.
Right, so I ate like 3 bowls of this.
And you're not used to that
in
kind
one
of roughage.
in one sitting. I wasn't used to that.
No,
I
your
wasn't
body
ready
wasn't
for that.
ready. But I let you eat it because you were making orgasm noises while you ate it, and I wasn't about to put my hand in the middle and take your bowl away.
And Katie was there, like they were both staring at me like I was having full sex with this bowl.
We were eating like
practically
we were
were.
eating our first bowl. And we were standing there talking, eating our first bowl, and we look over and Charlie's like, oh.
I was like, is this about to turn into like a weird American Pie type of
I'm
situation?
like, please don't put your dick in my salad.
I do what I want with my salad. Not gonna tell me it's not your salad no more. You put it in my bowl. I do what I want this with the salad.
Anyway.
Anyway, and inevitably, you know, I ended up in the bathroom for several. I'm thinking
Days?
Like,
I don't think you spell shit right.
I don't think I do actually. It's been different since. It's been different since that day. You know.
We'll turn this off. This heat off. It's fucking hot and fucking here.
Yeah.
Going directly on my back.
I had to like pull.
Y'all should have told me you were cooking. It feels like my grandma's house back in the day when she had her wood stove cooking.
Well, I'm surprised I'm hot because this thing is aimed at you. I'm just sitting over here.
It'll expand. Like it'll move.
You're a marshmallow person. Any amount of heat makes you swell.
I'm a marshmallow.
She's a marshmallow.
So don't come as a see. I'm not a soft butch lesbian. I'm a marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
A marshmallow. Is that one of the many archetypes for a gay person?
It is now.
It is now. It's a Katie
I'm
day.
soft and I'm incredibly white.
Well, actually, all of us we're kind of all like the pieces for a s'more. I'm crispy and not rigid, but I'm definitely strong and firm, like the graham cracker. Charlie's this velvety, soft, melty chocolate, and Katie's the squishy marshmallow.
So we're a s'more with 1 graham cracker?
I'm enough for 2 people.
But I'm like
You're right.
I'm an untoasted marshmallow. I'm the one you just pull right out of the bag and just put it
That's a sin.
right in there.
How is that a sin?
To put a raw marshmallow on a s'more, because
I'm saying that's what I am. I'm not toasted. Look at me. Look at me.
like a big.
I'm Dutch. I'm Dutch English. My genes did not give me a chance.
Wait. We describe her like Crystal, like on Squidbillies, like a big dollop of sour cream.
Do a dollop of Daisy.
Okay, before we exit, because we have some time, and I know we were going
It's
to
like 10 minutes.
We weren't going to rush this either, because we were going to. No, this was a special long episode. We're not going to do an hour. We're going to do a little longer.
I don't care how long it goes. I'm having fun talking
Yeah.
to
I'm
y'all.
having a great time, and I think we should just let people see it for what it is. Do you guys want to hear a really fun story about when I was married?
Yeah, tell us an ex-husband story.
Okay.
Let me just, before you do. Huh? Oh,
you're about to
yeah.
host. Here you go, hon.
Yeah, she's about to take a swig of Mountain Dew, Baja Blast.
We found
Sponsor
it.
us,
She found it.
please.
Which
We
I
need
found
money.
in a bottle. Please,
In a
people
bodega.
who make Mountain Dew, please make this available for people to buy on a regular
And
basis.
can we please have Pitch Black back the way it tasted in 05?
Tired of having to always go to Taco Bell because
Yeah.
I want Baja Blast.
Yeah, and you
Nothing against Taco Bell. I just would like
I
to
like
drink
their
a
food,
Baja
but,
Blast
like,
sometimes.
Taco Bell's food's great, but you don't always want to go and eat there, but sometimes you just want a Baja.
Right.
And Baja Blast is great mixed with Hypnotic, which is our drink of choice. So anyway, do you want to hear
just
the?
gotta
Do you
do
guys
the
want to hear
Baja.
the story of where I got engaged, or do you guys want to hear the story about the fight at the river?
Do the engaged one first.
Okay, because that introduces our audience to the first story, and then on a different story time, I'll tell the river story.
Right. Take a swiggy of Pepsi. And by the way, for the guys out there listening, yes, I do think it's hot that she had an ex-husband. Okay? And I don't care what you think.
Honey,
You just
it's
mad
okay.
that it's not. I'm getting mad.
Don't get mad.
Also,
It's-
did I ever tell you it used to confuse the hell out of me whenever she would say ex-husband? Because But back in that time, it never really occurred to me that people are bisexual.
Oh. Bisexual hadn't come out in your mind
Bisexuality
yet.
and pansexuality exists.
Well, you knew it, but it just didn't click in your brain because I was dating a girl all the time.
Well, and I knew you were so well, actually at the time I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah,
but
she wouldn't let me out
because she would talk about
Yeah.
she being Lindsay would talk about in my ex-husband, and I was just like, because I grew up heteronormative household, so my mind automatically would default to she's straight.
Right. Okay.
Like,
I'm
okay.
not offended by that. Because
But then later on, finding out that you were with this person, and I was just,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
yeah, my sexuality is very much like a kaleidoscope.
Bi is a thing.
It takes twists and turns, and it just varies on the person. But
She's a pansexual.
you also don't read straight. Like,
no, I don't. I don't have entirely straight energy. I mean, I can have it, but I'm more like on that, like, you're not sure or I'm gay. It's like, it's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But I have very androgynous features. I got the lesbian haircut. So, I mean,
well, now.
it's true. So, when I was 21, I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona to be with my ex-girlfriend.
Scottsdale. What?
You're not going to do that the whole time.
I'm not. I just felt like it called for it. Go ahead.
So I went there to be with my ex-girlfriend, and she and I broke up, and several months later, I started like hanging out with my friend, a guy friend, I will call G, and G and I started hanging out, and we started kind of like dating. It was a slow build up. I told him very clearly I didn't really want a relationship right away, and I didn't want to casually fuck, I tried that with him, and it didn't work. I just didn't feel right about it. So we just decided to like see where it went. So we started dating in March of 2011. My ex had just broken up with me literally January 31st of that same year. So that shows how quickly I move on.
Wow.
So I do.
Wow.
You get a month of mourning and then I'm off fucking someone else.
Wow.
Okay, Scarlett O'Hara.
I'm just saying life's too short to not get dicked if you want it. I'm just saying. If you're gonna give me up and you're gonna be stupid enough to break up with me, you get a month of mourning and I'm gonna get on someone else's genitals. Sorry. But so, G and I were, dating or whatever, and June, literally that same year, from March to June, we were dating. And he and I like always smoked weed together, and we did salvia together. We were like experimental drug buddies at the time. We were young. I was 22 at the time.
Great time to do drugs.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just, and I personally, I try not to let it get too far. I was just fucking around. I mean, I took it far sometimes, but like I generally had a pretty good control over it. And now all I do is smoke weed and take shrooms every 2 to 5 years just to check in with myself. But one night, he and I do acid for the first time together because we had done shrooms before.
Right.
So we do acid, and I'll never forget it. It was June of 2011.
Wait. Did you say his name just now?
Oops.
No last names. Go on.
Add in a beep.
Yeah, censor it out. Just censor it out for me.
If I could find that part. All right, fine.
Please.
I will censor it. Yes.
You can edit this.
Yes, I can edit this whole
So
thing.
anyway,
Timestamp right around 52 minutes-ish.
There you go.
He and I had done acid that night, and it was getting to the end of it. Like, it was starting to wear off. So our stupid asses, we lived literally like, you pulled out of our apartment building and like took a right and went straight, and there was like McDonald's and a few restaurants.
Yeah.
So when we were like sober enough, we got in the van and drove to McDonald's and got a 20-piece McNugget, and back then they had the Thai sweet chili sauce, so we got a bunch of that. And we were still pretty high, but
Should have been Szechuan.
they didn't have it back then.
I know.
I wouldn't have eaten it anyway. I just didn't have an interest in that one. But anyway, we're sitting in the McDonald's parking lot. It is 2 in the fucking morning, and we're eating. And I look at him and I go, I love you. He goes, I love you too. And we keep eating. And I go, you know what? I love you enough to marry you. He goes, do you want to get married? I go, really? He goes, yeah. I said, fuck yeah, let's get married. So I was still high. So I'm like, let's drive to Vegas. I'm like, let's drive to Vegas tonight. Because it's me. And like me on acid is just, I'm already impulsive. So like that is just not a good idea. So he's like, no, first of all, we're on acid. Second of all, I want our families to be there. And I'm like, fuck them, let's go. So I was ready. So we decide to go. We wanted to do it the Halloween the following year, but we were just so eager to get married. We got married literally that Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got the rings, we went to the courthouse wedding and all of that. But yeah, my engagement story was I was in a McDonald's parking lot, high on acid at 2 a.m. in Scottsdale, Arizona. Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, high as fuck, and I got engaged to my ex.
Wow.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
And 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh.
But it was
One begat the other.
But
So
the thing is, we were smart about it. We the next morning we woke up and we were like, listen, we had a pretty intense conversation last night. Do you still feel that way? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I'll never forget the day of my wedding. I'm in the car on the way to the courthouse, and my mom goes, what happens if it doesn't work out? I go, then we get a divorce.
Right.
It's not that heavy. You follow your heart, you love who you love, and if it doesn't work out, what's the difference between getting a divorce and breaking up?
Paperwork.
True, that is true. But it's not like we had a ton of assets or anything, and most of our stuff we had just coming in, so it wasn't that crazy. It was a really ugly divorce, but that was a whole separate thing. But you can date somebody for 23 years and the breakup's just as painful. So if it doesn't work, just get a divorce and fuck it. That's it.
Yeah, I recall the breakup with my ex was incredibly painful.
It was about a divorce for you. You guys were together for a long time.
We were together for a while. We were
10
together
years.
for a very long time, and I did not deal with that breakup well.
Well, who would? It's
At
awful.
all.
It's awful.
When you understand the circumstance, there was a lot of deception that had happened. There was a lot of messed up things that had happened. That had happened. But the thing that sticks out to me the most, which, granted, I don't remember it all that well because of how traumatic it was, but I remember vaguely calling her up randomly at different times of the day and cursing her out because I was hurt. How
long did you do this for? A couple weeks?
Here's the thing. My sense of time at the moment was really messed up. So it could have been, it honestly, realistically could have been maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. It felt like I was doing it for 5 months. I don't know if one of those is true or the other one is. But what I do know is that at the time I would just be sitting on the couch seething and single, as you do. And
your breakup was really ugly. She did you really dirty, so you were really hurt.
Right, and I'm sitting there seething, and my mind is just going through all of this stuff.
And then she did fucked up stuff while you guys were together. So it was when you break up with somebody that you're hurt by they leaving you, and then after a while you have a process of this relationship actually sucked.
But I'm processing all of this stuff, and then out of nowhere I would just call her up, and she would pick. For real, I don't know why she picked up the phone. I don't know why she did that.
I would have been like, "Fuck you, man."
Why was she picking
Because technically you were harassing her, so she could have just hung up the fucking phone.
Yeah, it's not to justify what she did, but in her defense, why would you pick up the phone?
But why would you answer?
Yeah, why would you pick? So she picked up.
I'd answer that one call and I'd be like, okay, fuck you, man, block your number and never talk to you again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why that never became an option for her. It was very strange to me.
On some level, she felt like she deserved to hear it.
It continues to be strange to me why she never did that. It was weird, but inevitably, I would call her like I was drunk or something. And I've never gotten drunk. I've never had a drink in my life. I've never done any drugs or anything like that.
You tasted a drink, but you've never
I've tasted drinks, but that's different from having a drink.
Charlie, by choice, for not any addiction reasons, Charlie's just entirely sober.
Right. And
out here raw dogging life like a fucking weirdo.
At least one of us needs to be.
Well, we
need one supervision.
There needs to be one adult.
This podcast needs a designated driver.
I'm just a fun adult. There's a difference.
So
exactly, designated.
There's a difference.
So basically, I call her up and I'm so sad and crying. I'm doing that gag cry thing.
I cry.
And I sound drunk. I'm like, why did you do this to me? I can't. I don't understand.
It's funny now. It's probably horrible.
You know what she did? You know how you made me feel. You know how you made me feel. You don't even know how you made me feel. You made me feel it. I'm not even really saying anything.
Yeah, that's the thing though. The thing is about breakups. I've been through several, and some of the stuff I did after the breakups were hilarious, but it wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but what the hell is that picture?
Oh, okay. So we're talking
on my laptop, on my
computer background. Yeah, it's one of the pictures he took from the Spider-Man game.
Why is there a lady lying on a skateboard?
Because that's one of the fake billboards.
What does that have to do with jeans?
It's one of their fake billboards in that video.
It's just lying down
on a skateboard
with her chin on a skateboard.
Yeah, looking stupid. That's called modeling, Katie.
And it's just jeans.
Jeans
$24.95. No store.
Well,
Oh wait, there's
in
the store. It's hidden
corner.
by his body.
But anyway, so
I'm sorry, that was just.
That's okay.
What the
Like,
hell?
when-
That was such a squirrel moment.
Like squirrel. when my ex and I broke up, my latest ex, the last one. I had a lot of really hilarious like grieving moments, but one of my favorites is during the time that she broke up with me, I was pet sitting for people I pet sit for a lot, and I was staying in this beautiful building, and I stormed in one day. I was just in a really sour, pissed off mood. Like I felt like my body was made of concrete. I was in so much pain. We had just broken up like that week. It was horrible.
Right.
And I was not having fucking anything, but I still got up and did my dog walks and did the clients I was supposed to do. You know, I just made myself get up. So I'm walking back into the building, and as I enter the building and go to get in the elevator, I hit the elevator, and as the elevator's coming, Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille started playing in the lobby. And I just look up at the ceiling like I'm talking to God, and I go, fuck you, Captain and Tennille, and I get in the elevator. I was so fucking mad.
Oh my God.
And like, oh, and in that same token, and I have a friend named Tommy who was a dog walker. He's been like dog walking for years, and he comforted me during this time, and I'm still grateful for that because I was embarrassing. So I went to the park every day to do my dog walks, and because I was so devastated, I would just sit on a bench with the dog.
Wow.
It was during the time, it was like July, June, so like it was raining a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I would sit in Riverside Park in Manhattan and gag, dry heave, cry on a bench in front of everybody. Like, I didn't give a fuck. And it was raining, and I'm just like, why did you eat? And the poor dogs I was walking were just looking at me like, oh my God, you were not
The
okay.
dogs are looking at you like, oh shit, this bitch is going crazy. Oh my God,
And I
I
was
need to
dog
go home.
And thankfully, the golden retrievers I was pet sitting were great comfort at the time. But like the dogs I was walking between taking care of those dogs.
Just giving you the side eye.
I'm
Like,
just in
what
the
is
park
the
going,
problem?
I'm so lost without you.
The dog's just looking at her like, excuse me, this is my time.
That's exactly how it was. And
We can talk about you later.
And I remember one time a dog stared at me and kind of made a noise like it wanted to walk, and I go, fuck you, this isn't about you. I felt bad, but I was just not, I shouldn't have been working, but I needed the money because I had just gotten dumped. So
Oh yeah, that's one of the worst parts where you gotta suddenly
pick up all the bills for
absorb
yourself, too.
the
Oh,
full weight of
God.
the income.
My rent was so expensive at that last place too. But yeah, like it was I was making good money at the time, and I mean, I picked myself up like a few weeks later, and I started taking myself on dates and, you know, meditating more, and I started doing, the whole breakup, I was trying to do good things for myself, but I did allow myself to do that really ugly cry grieving. I'd sit in the bathtub, and I'd start crying. I went on a Martha Plimpton binge and started watching all of her movies and TV shows, because for some reason, her voice brought me comfort.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, for some reason, she was just really comforting to watch because she was a very strong female.
Right.
And it sort of inspired me to pull myself out of there.
The weirdest part about that whole thing was the B side of it, which is what and Katie's relationship became.
Yeah, so Katie can tell a little bit, because that breakup was a fucking fiasco, and I won't go into it because it's just a whole thing. But it was legitimately really funny looking back at it. There were a lot of stressful moments, but that like. And I walked by an umbrella that had been turned inside out and flipped upside down, and I took a picture of it, and I was like, I know how this umbrella feels. Like,
That's deep.
yeah.
That's deep. You
I
was
feel
that hurt.
like
I was
inside
real
out
hurt.
umbrella.
You was so hurt.
and
You
it
were
was
comparing
so
yourself
great.
to trash.
No, it was really sad. I mean, it was so gray and shitty, and like, I mean, that building had a pool, and I was too depressed to even go swimming or even leave the apartment. I would just ugly cry and wait for delivery food.
My ex broke up with me, I think, at the in the beginning of spring, and it didn't matter. Like, it just didn't
Well,
matter.
it was summer.
It was
It was
spring,
summer when.
summer.
Thankfully, it was summer when she and I split because I got to go. I finally got myself to go outside and enjoy, like, going to the village and stuff. But okay, so
Well, and I remember how that happened too. Well, like, parts of it. I just remember getting a text from you one day.
I mean, like, I'm gonna take myself out on a date.
Well, no, that was about when the two of you broke up, but
Yeah.
you hadn't actually, like,
We went on
it
a
wasn't.
2-week
I mean, it wasn't like this was well before you guys had put it on social media.
She wanted to take 2 weeks where we like. I still
But
don't
this was
understand why.
no.
but
You texted me and said, "Hey, this
it's happening.
happened," and because I had plans to hang out with you guys. I think that very weekend, like the week that you had sent me that text, and she was like, you sent me that text, and it's like, this is what's happening. Wants to sit down, the three of us together and tell you, so, act surprised.
Yeah.
Or sad, or whatever the wording was that you used.
I forgot. I felt like I don't even remember that, but I do remember
when I was at the apartment, they sat me down like I was their child, and they were telling me that mommies were getting a divorce.
Yeah.
But here's the thing:
it was the most dramatic setup, and I'm sitting here going like, I already know what it is that you're going to tell me, but why are you setting up the stage this way?
She wanted to put up this whole to-do. She thought the internet and the world was going to be devastated, like we were Brangelina or something, and I'm like, they're not going to give a fuck because. The both of us know, and everybody knows that everybody liked me better anyway. So
I had a similar reaction to my breakup. When it had, because the thing is, my sense of reality was so limited at that point.
Yeah.
All I knew really was that relationship, and that
was like your first and really only long-term relationship before us. So
if it wasn't all I knew, it was a good chunk of my life experience at that point. So when she, because she broke up with me and left, when she broke up with me and people started finding out. I thought that it was going to be this whole thing, like everybody, like I had to explain it to everybody because,
I had to make a whole Facebook status because she thought everyone would be devastated. I didn't know. But she's like, Lindsay, people are fans of us as a couple. They are going to be so upset that we're breaking up. They're going to be so devastated.
Lindsay, the amount, the infrastructure that we're supporting, the income that happens because of us.
She's talking
Lindsay,
like we were Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter, bitch.
Lindsay, there are movies that are going to come out because of us, and you're jeopardizing it right now by making me leave you.
I have to leave you because I need to go get some strange dick, Lindsay. Okay. I don't understand how that's my fault, but Kay. So anyway, tell your omelet story, please.
Omelet?
Oh, that's right. Because I was eating
the incident. Because that has to, but you have the whole. You have to explain the whole thing because that has context.
The omelet.
Okay, so I can tell like the whole.
Yeah, tell anything you want. Like yeah.
Well, I don't know how much I can disclose. I'm sitting in front of a
No, we're not bothered by this. We have our past and our histories, and we're not bothered.
No, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I'm not that insecure.
Trying to show,
I'm a little
respect.
insecure.
Gosh, some respect.
We're pretty secure in our relationship. So.
She's pretty secure in our relation. No, I'm insecure about me as a man.
No, you're wonderful, baby. But anyway, let Katie tell her story, honey.
Okay.
So I'd have to go. Okay, so this goes back almost to, well, damn near the beginning of when we started talking.
TLDR version as much as possible.
But this goes back to almost like when we started talking. When our friendship first started.
2016.
Among the firsts that Lindsay was for me, the first love is on that list.
Oh.
Right.
Still so sweet.
And again, this was like the whole everybody knew I was gay, and I'm thinking that I'm doing such a good job of not showing that.
Remember how I mentioned earlier I'm naive and wasn't aware? I was the only one that didn't know. Jocelyn joked about it, and she'd be like, Katie has a crush
and
on
I'm
you,
sitting here
right?
going, yeah, you're talking about how I don't know anything, and I'm sitting here going, yeah, you really didn't know anything with me, did you?
Are you still bitter about it? No, because it's like, I had no idea. And Jocelyn would always be like, Katie has a crush on you, right? And I'm like, no, she doesn't. We're bros because it's me.
So our job at Job from Hell, TSE, we had to stand out in Times Square, one of the many, 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 many people trying to sell you shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
we needed money.
That was definitely us.
Our boss usually wanted us to like stand on our own, which almost never happened while we were out there because we all had our favorite person.
And yeah, he didn't want us to stand
or persons. And Lindsay had become mine. So every time we were out and if we were on the same part of the sidewalk, I always found my way.
She gradually would just drift a little closer as the shift went on to eventually she was just holding my arm and I'm like, Broadway tickets! Hi, Katie! Broadway
and I remember,
tickets.
I can remember one time when we were in that area that's where Sephora is.
Oh yeah, we were over there a lot.
Right, yeah.
Over where the painted ladies are.
Des
Nudas.
Anyway.
fighting for that territory.
Oh,
that was fun.
the titty girls.
Yeah, the titty girls.
Yeah, it's hard to sell Broadway tickets when someone's titties are out. I thought I was going to take my top off at
That's
some
a
point.
tough sell.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You get it, girls. You make your money.
Or titties.
It's just like Les Miserables, painted titties right now. Which one of those do you pick?
I don't know anybody, including everyone in this room, that wouldn't choose the titties. So that's fair. But anyway. We were competing for titty territory.
Titty Tory?
Invented a new word, titty tory.
I'm glad it's funny now because it was horrible then.
Charlie Grant, 2020. But we were in that area, and the two of us were just talking, and then it looked like I was going to get someone that was going to come and talk to me about tickets. So my attention is diverted, and during that moment, Jocelyn's like, "Lindsay, come over here."
And I was like, "Okay, hi."
And I turn around, and I'm like,
busy. I didn't want to bother you. So.
Yeah. And this was when I was still kind of in denial over the fact that, well, not just myself, but I was also in denial over the fact that I had a crush.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, this is just, this is just my friend Lindsay. This is
very
completely normal. This is normal for me to, give this one person this much attention. It's completely normal.
And I was just like, I thought it was because I made you feel comfortable that you just were close to me. And I was like, okay, I'm the first person to ever accept her. So logically speaking, she'd get a little clingy early on.
Which was how that, that was the catalyst.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying to joke with being like, you're always trying to take her away from me. Now, during this time, I did not know that they were a couple. So I was not aware.
That's what makes it extra funny.
Yeah.
I was not aware that I was glomming onto someone who was taken at
Right.
the time. I don't do that. That's not my thing.
No, and I respect that, and I appreciate that.
Believe me, once I found out, I just kind of backed off a bit. I'm like, oh, he's okay. I need to come right over here because she got somebody already.
She needs space, I understand. But anyway.
Time goes by, and I do what I do best and deny everything and push everything down.
She had a nice double dip of denial. Mm-hmm. That's her favorite river.
That was lovely. That was a fun conversation with my mom, too.
Oh,
Being
boy.
like,
well, your mom's been insisting you've been in love with me since before you knew.
Yeah. And, well, she had asked me that question. This was around the time that you guys actually broke up that this happened. Mm-hmm. I had this conversation with her where she's like, is Lindsay your girlfriend? Because it actually happened around the same time that I came out to her.
Yeah, it's just that was all kind of
like I came out to her, and then like maybe a month later, I think you guys broke up, something like that, to set up the timeline.
Yeah, roughly.
Right.
It was,
and I was just like, oh,
it was definitely the same year.
Nah, mom, like she's just a friend. No, not at all. No,
just a 20-minute.
Let's see, my girlfriend, like me in love with, like no.
Was it like a Blanche Devereaux, like, oh God, I wish I was dead?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, God, I wish I was dead. She's like, well, she clearly means a lot to you, so I'm just like, no.
And I mean, when I like meant that much to Katie, I treat my friends very special, so I just thought I was a very special friend to her. But it turns out she had special friend feelings to me in the way they described lesbians in the 80s. So Katie's her special friend. Her roommate. You can't see the air quotes, but you can hear them.
I wanted to lesbian together. To Lebanese. I wanted to Lebanese.
Katie wanted to rent a U-Haul with me and get a cat.
Katie and her special friend are taking a trip to Lebanon.
Katie's special friend is from Lebanon? Well, she's Lebanese. Well, that's a great one. Dan Thomas won.
Lebanese Blanche.
Lesbian.
Everything's a Golden Girls.
Oh, it always loops back.
But, okay. So after that conversation and like whatever time period was later that you guys broke up, and by that point I had pretty much reconciled it into my head. Okay, yeah, I have feelings. I can't.
And Katie,
I can't keep denying that anymore. I do, but
and Katie didn't know that Lindsay doesn't stay single for longer than a month rule.
Well, and it's like let's keep it to self because at the time in a relationship,
right.
But then after it ended, it was like okay, because one of the things that you had said was that you didn't want to date anybody, you wanted space.
Yeah, and I did not expect for me to fall in love with Charlie so fast.
So
I thought I was going to be single for at least 6 months. That was my plan. I was trying to do it differently.
Yeah, and that was okay. So let's respect the space.
Which I appreciate.
I didn't, and people always, I keep hearing, hey, if you like somebody, tell them. I'm like, yes.
Unless they, but I requested space, so you were respecting that.
I agree with that. That never sat right with me either.
It depends on the context and the situation, and like if you're comfortable.
Boundaries exist,
right?
And they exist for a reason. It's like I wasn't about to, I was about to violate that.
Right.
And I mean,
So I'm like, okay, I'll give time and everything's gonna be fine.
And if I've had friends who, while I was in a relationship, be like, listen, I don't expect anything of this, but I just have a crush on you when I wanted to get it off my chest. That's fine. I'm like, oh, I'm flattered. Thank you. And that's usually where it ends.
Admittedly, the only reason I said anything is because I didn't know that. You said that about 6 months.
Well, because you and I were hanging out
thing.
a lot, and like I didn't want to bring it up because as we hung out, I was starting to feel things, and I was like, well, I don't want to shut off. I mean, but I actually told you after you told me. I started crying because I'm like, I wanted to make sure I was, growing as a person and taking the time for myself, but I'm also not going to shoot you down now because I don't want to leave you single and have you get snatched up by someone else. I want to be with you.
You started crying? I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? No, it was very sad. I was worried about what?
He told me he loved me and it was very sad.
Well, no, it was just like he told me he wanted to date me, and I was like, you know what? I didn't think I was just scared to get involved with somebody because I had gotten so hurt in the last relationship, but I wasn't going to push this opportunity away because I knew I wanted to date him, and he's pretty special. I didn't want him to get snatched up. So
they said I was special in second grade too. Anyway, Katie, you were saying
you too? Did you have to go to special classes too?
several.
Yeah, same.
All this part of the story kind of seemed to escalate pretty quickly. It feels like it went by really fast.
As it does. Yes.
It went from they break up to we were talking, some whatever conversation it was, and you had worked around to, Jocelyn said this about you and me.
I had mentioned Jocelyn had thought you had a crush on me, and I was laughing about it. I'm like,
And,
oh, can you believe that?
And
LOL.
up until that point, anytime
Stupid
someone said
ass me.
anything remotely like that, I was just like, no, that's not the thing. That's no.
And we laughed. We were just like, ha ha ha
And
ha.
by that point, I'm just like, she wasn't wrong. Something like that. Just
I
kind of.
remember that conversation.
Yeah, I
You were
remember I was
standing at my
standing
door.
in the doorway, just leaning on the
Fidgeting.
doorway, just you
wouldn't make eye contact
fidgeting
with
the
me.
nails. And
You
just
wouldn't
like,
look at me.
But my dumbass, I couldn't.
Denies again. You double deny.
Still
That's
denying
classic.
it because it's not like she's not. I'm like, well, she's not wrong, but that was in the past. That was when we first met. That's been gone for
And
a
I
while.
had an
It's
inkling
okay.
feeling she was lying to me because she was my friend. I believed her. I was like, okay, her body language is telling me otherwise, but because she's my friend, she would have no reason to lie to me by now. I'm gonna just let this go. So then Charlie and I start dating, and I text her all excited because she was friends with both of us.
Right.
And this was around the time
And it was
when,
so harmless. I was just like, hey.
well, and this was around the time that it had been confirmed or whatever that I was going to be moving in. I
right.
was
And,
gonna be a
and you
roommate.
had also confirmed you had no feelings for me anymore.
Yeah.
So
I was completely out of the loop with this. I had
told you
no
all of this.
No, I mean, you told me after it played out. Before that, I had no idea that
Right,
Katie
it was a
into
lot.
you like that.
And it was a lot.
I was in the dark.
You're not mad you found out later, right?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying,
It happened
Well,
so fast.
and the two of us didn't really start. We didn't really become
it
friends
was me.
until you guys were
yeah. So
together.
afterwards, right? Yeah,
And
right.
here's the thing, and so when she had officially confirmed she didn't have feelings for me anymore, I always viewed Katie more platonically anyway, so I was just like, well, good. Now me dating Charlie won't hurt her. Everybody will be happy, and we can just go about our lives. So I thought,
Whatever.
Katie, so I thought. So I
But Lindsay
so
was wrong.
Charlie and I officially... it appears I was wrong. So I text her, and when he and I officially decide to make it a thing, and I'm like, oh my god, Charlie and I are together. I was really excited, and then she just went ghost on me for 2 weeks.
Well,
And you sent me two pug memes, and then
what happened?
quiet.
Okay, what happened? What happened
What happened? What? No.
was that day. And God, this is okay. So this is how my memory works. I always remember the things that hurt me the most. Why does my brain do that? I don't know.
Because you stay home and hurt your own feelings all the time.
But I've replayed. It doesn't really happen now unless I'm actually talking about it. But I replayed that day in my head so many times that I can still see it pretty clearly.
even though you deleted
I was
the text.
working at so at the time I was living up in Westchester County, and I had a job at a doggy daycare up in Yorktown,
Right. Okay.
which was not too
And this
far
is before
from.
you moved in with me, so I didn't see you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw me every couple months or so.
Yeah, or so.
Maybe once a month.
Maybe, yeah.
But I was at work, and this was early in the morning. I'm outside in the yard with the dogs, and I got that text message that it started out with, it was like, can I tell you a secret or something in that vein. You didn't just say, hey, me and Charlie are together.
Yeah.
It was like, I've got something to tell you, can I tell you? I'm like, sure, yeah. But that was not what I was expecting to see.
Yeah, it
was that
just,
Charlie and I have started a romantic relationship.
Yeah, it was very.
The exact wording.
Yeah.
Charlie and I.
She's looking at me. I'm like, what?
That's intense. Oh my God.
You know, but I had not. She had denied her feelings for me, so I didn't think it would be hurting her. Because if she had said, "I still have feelings for you," I would have dropped this bomb on her so much differently. I would have told her in person. I would have bought her lunch.
This is why I
Don't really look at it as
I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I don't look at it as you broke my heart. I look at it as I broke my own damn heart because I
You hurt your own feelings.
Yeah.
deep.
Only this time, instead of being in my head, it was something that actually played out in real life.
But it
I
was
have
a
a
good
lot of
learning
respect for
lesson
that.
you, too. Yeah.
I legitimately do have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
deep.
I felt so bad. And
That
then
must be really.
and
damn.
then when did you tell me? I can't remember. When did you tell me you had lied to me? So after I said that, she didn't say anything about being happy first. She started sending me pug photos.
Yeah, it started.
It was so weird.
My first response, because I did respond after, like, within a few
Hours.
minutes.
Oh,
Within a
yeah,
few minutes, I was just like, trying to sound curious. Well, when did this begin?
Mm-hmm.
And it was, as I think you had told me, it had been like a month or 6 weeks, something
Yeah, but
like
we
that.
weren't
It was
really
still,
sure.
it was
a
still
few weeks.
relatively, it was still a
In
new
a few
thing.
weeks, yeah.
We were just kind of settling into it.
But now I'm standing there, like I said, I'm at work, so now I'm standing out there in the yard with these dogs, trying really hard not to cry.
And I felt so bad upsetting you at work because nothing's worse
Because
than your heart
that was
broken at
just
work.
like everything came crashing down, and at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, but wait a minute, she said she wanted time. What happened to the time she needed?
I feel you on that.
But it
Like
just
that,
didn't-
all that information. Yeah, that's rough to hit and getting one.
Yeah, like I mean,
that's a lot.
it wasn't my intent to hurt her,
That's a
but it
lot.
just you can break anybody's heart not on purpose. It just happens.
I have never.
But like I said, if I
I've
had
never
just
broken
known,
anyone's heart.
If I had just known that she like still had even tentative feelings or even remotely at all, she made it sound like it was so past tense that it wasn't even a small lingering. So I just was like, cool. I'ma just tell her this because we're all friends and it's like that's over. She had her little crush on me and that was it. I didn't know her crush had ran so deep beyond a crush, and I didn't know she lied to my face like twice. So bitch, I am not a mind reader.
Speaking my truth has never really been.
It's new. You're new at it.
It's not my strong suit.
But this is not one of those cases where I'm mad at a
Working on
friend
it,
for
but
lying
it's
to
not
me
my
because you
strong
lied to me out of fear, and it didn't hurt me, and it ended up just hurting you. And I'm like, well, I hope you learned that you don't have to lie to me.
And it just stems
or
from,
yourself.
Well, yeah.
It just stems from having to keep pretty significant details about myself secret for such a long time.
And then you were backed
At
in a
this
corner
point,
to tell the
it's
truth.
a habit.
I feel you.
After that, she sent me
I
something.
can
She's
respect that.
she sent me like a pug meme, and then I didn't hear from you. For
Yeah, like a
ever.
couple hours later, I had taken a picture of a couple pugs that were at my daycare
that's
that
what it
day, and I just sent a picture to her, just random, and it was just like, puggies.
And I'm like,
Ugh.
what?
Like, this is...
I'm gonna bury this. Here's a picture of a pug.
Exactly.
Don't
It's
look
just-
at my emotions, please.
It's just like, I can't deal with this right now. I don't want to deal with this right now. I can't
Repress.
let her know I'm
Repress.
dealing with this right now. So here's a picture of pugs.
And I was confused as shit, and I just like Katie. I was like, Katie and her fucking stoner ass is sending me. I'm trying to talk about my relationship. I'm in a relationship with a guy for the first time in years, and you're sending me pug photos. So I just dropped it, and I was working anyway. So, and I didn't hear from you for like how
and
long?
I didn't talk to you for a while.
Like a couple weeks.
And
but then again,
I don't think I've ever told you this
What?
Oh, Jesus.
detail. I've told
I
her
forgot.
this. I don't think I've told you this.
And I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to hurt his feelings.
This is not intended to hurt the feelings. It's just we're talking about things. So
Yeah. What happened?
it was really hard for me to hear the name Charlie for a long time after
Oh, I
that.
feel so bad about that.
Well, don't feel bad. It was just
I mean, I know things just happen the way it happened, but
because it wasn't to hurt Katie.
yeah,
It was
like
just-
I wasn't trying to hurt.
No, and I know that.
Yeah.
It's like I know that, but when you're
No, I
like
feel-
you were
yeah.
talking about like what you were
Emotions
doing
are-
with your ex when you were hurt.
Right.
I was hurt.
And
And she couldn't even look
get
at you or
that.
hear about you or anything.
I totally
for
get that. I totally
And I
get
didn't
you.
tell you because I didn't want you to feel bad or.
Oh, I definitely would have.
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah,
cried.
and it's like
Yeah, he
it's
would've
like
cried,
Charlie.
and I couldn't tell
Yeah,
him.
and it's
I
like
would
Charlie. It's like Charlie did not do
And I think
this
you
to me.
requested
He
me
did
not
not
to tell him
It's like he did not do anything to me. I'm just hurting right now.
Which is fair.
And he happened to be the person I loved, so it was hard.
And one of my favorite dogs at my daycare was a dog named Charlie.
Ooh.
That was just
man.
That was a really rough.
That's tough. That's rough.
That was maybe 2 months because that was a month before I moved in.
Yeah, she was
when
lined
that
up to be our
happened.
roommate.
So I'm trying to deal with that for the month that I pretty much had to seclude myself and lick my wounds, so to speak.
Yeah, and I
and then the
we'll
first
go wild, not talk, and we'll just be busy. So I didn't even think I didn't think she was mad or anything.
even that first couple weeks after I moved in,
You were so awkward.
it was still it's like I'm trying I want to be happy for the two of you because I like both of you, and you guys do make a really I knew back then, you guys do make a really good couple, a better couple. Honestly.
Yeah, Katie and I are better off as really good friends.
Yeah.
You mean compare? Oh, I thought she meant better than you and your ex.
Well, that's also true. But
okay.
Katie and I would never make a good couple. That's why I always liked her platonically, because I always knew that was never.
Which now I know, but of course at the time.
Yeah, at the time that wasn't gonna be on your mind.
On the forefront of my mind.
No, you wouldn't entertain that idea.
The entire time.
My thought pretty much was my head was spinning, and it was just what the hell just happened?
Then she made another ghostly appearance in my door to tell me she lied to me.
Well, no, that one, again, I can recall this so clearly.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember
we were in the living room.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Okay.
I think the only light that was on
was that beautiful lamp that
that lamp. It wasn't even the backlighting on the wall. It was just a lamp.
That really pretty paper lamp
that was on.
It reflected so much light.
You were smoking. I wasn't, because I'm sitting there all nervous. I'm
very
just
cinematic.
I'm just listen. I'm like, okay, I have got to say something, because if I move in with this girl, feeling the way that I do, something's going to not go well.
It's going to create a bitterness you didn't want.
Yeah,
that was really decent of you to do that, because most people would just let that simmer, and then you get episodes of Deadly Women.
Yeah,
they just murdered her in the next room 6 months later.
Well, and I kept thinking, what? At the end of the day, this is my best friend.
Right.
It's better to have me as that than
I'm like, I cannot lose that friendship. Mm-hmm. So it's I'm just gonna have to find a way to deal with this. It hurts,
like an adult, but
I have to find a way to deal with the pain instead of just pretending like it's not there.
And we got through it so well. Once you told me, and I was like, why the fuck did you lie to me again? I was just like, you don't.
The only thing I don't remember is what we were talking about, that the conversation wound up going in that direction.
I was just smoking and chilling with you, and I think you just wanted to tell me. I think it had been on your mind.
But I remember I
had probed you, because I could tell something was bothering you. Because I can always tell.
It's there was something, but I don't remember exactly what. But I can remember I was just sitting. I can remember I was sitting like this. Mm-hmm. I know that people listening can't see this, but
Yeah, just your face palming a little bit.
Head in hand, but I had my hand over my mouth.
Like she didn't want to say anything.
Right.
But she needed
and actually, since she was like, what is it? So I said it. And I'm just sitting here. I'm just like,
and I was like, oh,
I'm just like, I've been in love with you from the beginning.
Yeah, and
you're just sitting there, and of course, she's stoned as hell.
She's sitting there high,
still aware, and she's just looking at me with those eyes, just like, I didn't know that. Oh my God, why didn't she say something sooner? And everything. Yeah. It was so nice and sweet. I knew it would be.
Yeah. Because it's Lindsay.
It was just such a scary situation to be in.
It was, because I'm sitting there shaking. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm confessing something to this girl. I already know where I stand.
Right.
She's in a it's the beginnings, but it's still in a relationship.
You at all. I was always very honest.
And I'm not saying this to be like, no, pick me, please come over to my side.
No, you just needed to.
It's just, God, please, I need to say this to you, because, oh my God, this is weighing me down so much.
I think we hugged, and it was just, it was really lovely.
And it was fine.
It was really lovely, and it was obviously it was very sweet, and I'm not bothered by it at all, because human feelings are very complicated. And as long as you're respectful, that's all that matters.
And I found out about all of this way after the fact.
Well, I didn't mention a lot of it to you because Katie had requested I don't.
Yeah.
And two, and
I can respect that.
I don't like hide
I'm just saying, I found out later.
Things from you, but I also don't feel the need to tell my friends secrets if they're not willing to share it.
Yeah, I didn't.
And it was
I
very
don't feel.
sensitive. She,
I don't
for
feel
a while she
obligated to
didn't
that
like you
information.
for a bit, and I felt bad about that. And like,
Yeah, I don't feel obligated to that information,
anyway,
and I'm
so
glad you
that
shared
leads
it
us
with
to
me.
the-
Thank you for telling me
leads
that.
us to the omelet situation.
I'm sure that was, my God, that must have been so crazy to deal with.
And the fact that she could still look at me and still be my friend and stuff after all of that is great.
The fact that she could come over and not punch me in the face every day. It's like, hey, Lindsay, hey, Charlie. I'm sitting there like, hi, Katie. How you doing? It's always a pleasure when you come over.
There were
It's always such a pleasure.
the closest was having that, in my head, you'd come over and my thought would be like, you.
She would peer out of her fucking room like a gargoyle, just like
Looking at your rose, just like Dinkelberg.
oh my god, that's so fucking that's
Looking
literally
over there like, fucking guy.
okay. If anybody ever watches What We Do in the Shadow, we are basically Laszlo, Nandor, and Nadja, 110%.
Yeah.
Charlie and I are totally Laszlo and Nadja, 110. And Katie is Nandor. She's just like, fucking guy.
Paper.
Yes, I understand the ether.
This would make a very good gift
But anyway,
for a
that
man
leads to
named
the omelet
Steve.
story that you
Yes,
have to share, because
okay.
it was one of the
Yeah,
most
so that's
awkward moments.
all of this was just build up to this
the
omelet story.
Yeah.
Because you have to have context, and
That's the context.
that's like a year and a half worth of context. So post breakup, for a while I had maintained some semblance of a friendship with.
Yeah, you and I never like told you not to be like, you were very
Yeah.
civil with both of us, and I thought it was great that you were
And
friends with both of us.
I was also unaware of how
Certain facts.
of the details of that relationship, because again, I lived in Westchester, they lived in Brooklyn, so I wasn't around a lot.
And I don't judge that at all. Like I said, it was like I don't judge your personal decisions.
Yeah,
honestly.
and
Like,
it wasn't like it was something that was like, it was not talked about.
Well, also, if you guys were still friends, I still wouldn't be mad at you because
Yeah,
it's
it
just
wasn't
like,
terribly public.
and it also wasn't. It was nightmarish, but it wasn't so nightmarish that I would be like, don't be friends with her. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't like sexually,
Yeah, like you encouraged it for a bit, and in the beginning it was
Well, 'cause I'm a
fine.
reasonable person. It's like if you want to be friends with somebody, I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell you no.
Like in the
Right.
beginning it was fine. Like I went to a karaoke night with her that was actually a lot of fun.
Right.
She was working at Babeland at the time, which is
Unfortunately.
But then, like the whole thing, the reason
that started out okay. Like that was
it was
from my like in my terms of like this particular story,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, when like
because like she did
help you a
end
lot.
up teaching me things,
Well, and that's great, and I'm glad you
sure,
learned
right.
what you needed to learn. And I mean, like I said, you had something to gain from that friendship. I had no problem with that. The problem that you weren't not friends with her because of me. You're no longer friends with her because of her.
Yeah.
Like of behavior towards you. So tell the story we're talking about here.
Yeah. But during that time, I'm hanging out with her, and we had also become workout buddies. I would go to the gym with her, and sometimes if we exercised in the morning, we would go have breakfast before we'd go to the gym
Good stuff, Diner.
at this nice little diner down on 14th Street.
Right.
And this one day, we're just eating breakfast, and I'm sitting there just, eating my little cheese and broccoli omelet.
It's just you two.
Yeah, it's just us. I'm sitting there with my little omelet. And somehow the conversation had circled around to the two of you, which wasn't an uncommon occurrence.
I know.
But I had somehow wound up telling her that, yeah, I did have feelings for Lindsay. Again, putting them in past tense, because at that point they were still current.
Right.
But, then the conversation switched to a different topic. And then just randomly out of nowhere, she's like, I knew it was going to be either you or Charlie.
Mumbles it to herself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that under her breath to herself.
And then she
at a
repeated it,
breakfast.
Looking at me.
Ew.
Ooh, that sounds.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Oh God.
that's unnerving.
I knew it was going to be either you or Charlie. I'm just like, okay. Like,
Starts taking. The
are you
knife
going
away
to
from
stab
her.
me with your knife over there? Just use it to cut your French toast or put it down. Don't, no.
You sitting there, it's just like, you can stab me all you want. It's a butter knife. It's not gonna do nothing.
You can stab me all you want to. It's not gonna unfuck your ex-girlfriend with black dick. Sorry. It's just not.
That was just so unsettling, and it's like,
And then didn't she repeat it twice or something in that same sentence? Or like, what didn't you say she like said it a couple of times at that same?
different conversation.
Oh, but still, it was in the same like threat.
And again, to no one in particular.
Yeah, she did that.
I knew it was
know.
gonna be you.
Well, the way you describe it, I know exactly what you mean because she did that to me when she found out he and I were dating. She goes, I knew it was either good, but actually, she didn't say it calm and terrifying. She screamed it and pointed at your bedroom and screamed, I knew it was gonna be either her or Shirley. And I'm like, okay, it's Halloween, and I'm gonna need you to bring it down like 10 notches because I have a headache and I'm wearing a wig. So
see, that's the part that's most confusing. What did she have against me?
it was just.
It's just the fact that she
me.
predicted. Yeah, like
what was it about us?
What was
She
that?
didn't want you guys to date me because you were nice to me.
Oh,
That was just so.
She didn't think I deserved for people to be nice to me. That
was
to be the only reason.
And that was the
That's
thought.
only
It's like,
reason it sucks.
you or Charlie, and I'm just like, well, what's wrong with Charlie?
First of all-
what's wrong with me?
First of all,
Like what?
Katie is like
We're good
platonic to me,
people.
but like Katie's platonic to me, but like none of them would have been a bad choice. There would have been a good choice either way, and it was like
she didn't like that we both like Star Wars, and she didn't understand Star Wars.
she wouldn't watch it. She wouldn't watch it. I tried, man. Do we have any more stories we want to tell before we wrap it up for the night?
Nothing comes to mind from my end.
I mean, I'm good. We have other story time sessions we can come up with, and we'll have Katie on as a guest again.
Yeah, this one ran over a little bit longer than we normally like.
Half hour longer, not bad.
Yeah, like a half hour longer, but we had our special guest here. We had Katie because Katie's amazing.
Okay,
No, this was fun. This was a good time.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any final notes or parting words?
Stay tuned for another episode where Katie being on here at some point, and normally our podcasts aren't this long, but if you want to listen to more, visit us at where are we again? Spotify and YouTube.
We're on Spotify, YouTube, Breaker, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts.
Yeah, and are we on Stitcher yet?
I haven't gotten a notification about that
yeah,
yet.
me neither. Okay, all right. Yeah,
But we are now. We're available on our Facebook, a Twitter at Jug O Sip Podcast.
yes.
Jug O Sip.
Yeah, and if you type up Jug O Sip, Jug O hyphen, no, not hyphen, apostrophe. God, Jug O apostrophe Sip, you will find us on YouTube and just about anywhere else.
All right, Katie, any parting words for the public today?
Well, let me think. Oh, wait, I got one.
Yeah.
If anybody boos you off stage, remember that is simply applause from ghosts.
You sharing needles.
Okay, and,
That was great.
and I'll part with my favorite. White people have live, laugh, and love. I have a different one. I have get naked, smoke weed, praise Satan. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Peace out.